2 years ago, here on this very channel, I produced a video where I talked about every single platinum trophy I've ever earned. From 2010 until 2021, I'd earned 20 platinums. And in the last 2 years, I've kind of done it again, earning another 20. I've now got 40 platinums. So I decided to make a follow-up video to that video and talk about every single platinum trophy I've earned, numbers 21 to 40. Back in 2015, Konami released Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, a game that absolutely rekindled my love of Yu-Gi-Oh! As someone who hadn't played the game since around 2008-2009ish. It helped introduce me to the mechanics that have been added to the game ever since I stopped playing, but also teaching me new strategies as well going forward. I did get all the trophies for the original Legacy of the Duelist, but since it didn't include a platinum trophy, I didn't include it in the original video. Thankfully, in 2019, Konami released Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution to go alongside with their link mechanics that had been added to the game a few years earlier, and with it came a platinum trophy. I bought the game on Switch as a way of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! On the go. Didn't feel the need to buy Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution on the PlayStation until a few years later in 2021 when I saw the game on sale, as I already owned the previous version on PlayStation. I achieved the platinum on the 8th of October 2021 after achieving the first trophy on the 15th of January 2021, so it took me close to 9 months. There's not really any difficult trophies in Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution, the hardest one probably being Pro Duel, which was earned on the 24th of September 2021, which is win a ranked duel. Anything involving winning something online, especially in a ranked format, is going to be a difficult thing to get. And probably Duel Master as well, which I earned on the 8th of October 2021, which involves winning all the Duelist challenges, as a lot of the characters in that mode use competitive versions of their decks. Most of the trophies involve finishing the campaign or doing various points of damage with different mechanics, and using all the types of summoning mechanics like Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, Pendulum and Ritual. So overall, the game wasn't too hard to platinum, and I really enjoyed my time putting Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution as my 21st platinum I earned on PlayStation. When Doctor Who The Edge of Reality was announced, I really couldn't wait to play this game. I'm a big time Doctor Who fan, and I love playing the Doctor Who games, even though none of them are especially that great. But, you know, the game came out and I achieved the platinum on the 21st of October 2021 after starting the game on the 14th of October 2021, so it took about a week. The game itself was really fun. You play as the companion to the Doctor, who has mysteriously disappeared, and you have to try and find out exactly where she's gone. Throughout your time playing the game, you'll go through a Dalek invasion of London, go on board of a Cyberman spaceship and try and take out the Cybermen from inside, and also go through mind-bending realities as well, with the 10th/14th Doctor and the 13th Doctor accompanying you. The game itself wasn't too hard to platinum. I'd say the hardest one to do was Can't Exterminate What You Can't See, which I earned on the 18th of October 2021, which involves infiltrating the Dalek Temple without getting caught once. This doesn't sound too hard, but there is one section of this level where there is a Dalek that is moving within a small corridor, and working out how to get past this Dalek without being seen took me a long time to try and work out. Most of the trophies involve finishing various parts of the story and collecting all the items throughout the game, so it probably will take you a couple of run-throughs. One of the most fun trophies in the game as well is called You Would Make a Good Dalek, in which you actually steal a suit of Dalek armor and use it to kill all the other Daleks within the temple and make it out. And with voice acting from David Tennant and Jodie Whittaker themselves, this game really does stand out as one of the best Doctor Who games ever released. I started streaming Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle for Halloween 2021 and ended up getting the platinum for it on the 10th of November 2021. This took me just over 2 weeks, as the first trophy I got for the game was achieved on the 26th of October 2021. The game itself isn't actually too hard to platinum. It just generally involves dying in specific ways or killing victims in specific ways, most of which you'll get through your first run through of it anyway. I'd say that the hardest trophy in the game is Gorefest, which I achieved on the 26th of October 2021. Get 30 consecutive kills in Murder Marathon. Personally, as someone who's not very good at pressing a button in specific times, it took me quite a few attempts. I think I was in the thousands of kills by the time I managed to get this one. There are trophies for getting 10 and 20 kills, but those ones weren't too bad. My average score was about 15. But to get 30 kills in Murder Marathon definitely took me a long time to get. So if you're not very good at pressing buttons at very specific, often very small windows of time, then yeah, this is going to be quite a difficult one for you to platinum, even though most of the trophies are pretty easy and you'll get them through your main playthrough of the game itself. But overall, I really enjoyed my experience. It's a really fun puzzle game, and the gory ways that the various characters die, often in humorous ways as well, really add to the charm of this game. Deathloop is one of, if not my absolute favourite PS5 game released so far. I achieved the platinum for this on the 9th of January 2022 after earning my first trophy for the game on the 27th of October 2021, so it took just over 2 months. The game itself is a really enjoyable experience. I really enjoyed the non-linear storytelling of the game and having to work out all the different pieces to put together in order to actually finish the game and break the loop. It generally follows, you're playing a character called Colt as he runs around Black Reef trying to break the loop because he keeps waking up on the beach on the very same day at the end of the day, and you have to try and work out through the various runs how to put things together in order to break the loop. The hardest trophy of the game, which I earned on the 9th of January 2022, is probably a Charlie Montague game. This involves doing various different time-consuming missions around the map on different parts of the day. Mostly reward scheme, with special mention for the area within Fathoms of Lament, which basically is a 2-story obstacle course in which you have to throw a load of levers within a short amount of time while there are lasers coming down from the roof of the building and going across the building completely that will completely shut the game down if you touch any of them. And the order of which you need to throw the switches is completely random. And you also, by doing this, get the heritage gun as well, which you also need for another trophy as well for getting all the weapons. But other trophies involving finishing the levels in various difficult ways can also be quite challenging as well. Ghost at the Feast is one that I remember being quite a challenging trophy to get, which involves killing the 3 visionaries present at Alexis's party, those being Alexis himself, Igor and Wenji, without being seen by anyone, and that map is crawling with cultists. Cleanish Hands as well, which involves killing only the visionaries you're meant to kill on a certain map without killing any of the cultists, which can be quite challenging. You only die once, which involves putting a class pass on Colt so that if he dies you can't actually come back to life, and breaking the loop as well, running through the entire loop, killing all the visionaries without having the second chance that you normally have with this sort of thing. And Mightier Than the Gun as well, which involves going into a map completely unarmed and killing all the visionaries that are there. Overall, Deathloop is a very challenging game, a very challenging platinum, but one that I enjoyed playing all the way through, and wish I still had more challenge to do with it today. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated is a remaster of the PS2 game SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. That's a game I never actually played back in the day, but heard everyone talking about how great it was. So when the game came out in 2022 on PlayStation Plus, I definitely had to pick it up, and I managed to get the platinum for the game on the 21st of April 2022, after getting the first trophy on the 17th of April 2022, so it took about 4 days. There's not really any difficult trophies in this game. I'd say, obviously, by definition, the hardest one is 100% SpongeBob, which is get 100% completion of the game. This one being the hardest because most of the other trophies involve collecting collectibles, talking to different characters, and finishing both the story and side missions available in the game as well. The game follows SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy, who are in a version of Bikini Bottom that's been taken over by plankton robots, and you have to try and go to the different areas of Bikini Bottom and try and rid the town of the robots. It's a fun story, it's fun gameplay, fun little platforming game, and one that I really enjoy getting the platinum for. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is a game that I waited a little bit to pick up, and picked it up finally in March of 2022. And I'm really glad that I did, because this is possibly one of the best Marvel-based video games I have ever played in my entire life. It follows an original story as the Guardians of the Galaxy look to take on the Universal Church of Truth. Honestly, the voice acting and the characterization of the Guardians of the Galaxy rivals that of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the MCU. All the characters are very, very likable, and often, you know, actually exceed the MCU when it comes to performance and characterization. Not really any of the trophies are that hard to get. I'd say Lore Hoarder is probably the hardest one to get, which is collect 65% of the Galactic Compendium. Not really that hard, but it's time consuming and definitely would involve you having to run back to different locations to pick up things that you've missed along the way. Other trophies are mostly story based or doing specific actions with members of the Guardians. I suppose I could say that a lot of those trophies involving doing various actions with different members of the Guardians is technically the hardest trophy, because you've got to take out specific enemies with specific team attacks with different members of the team, and you don't get to choose when those take place. A Guardian will offer to do a team up attack with you. It has one of the best, most climactic final battles of almost any game I've played for a long time, and it's one that I really enjoy playing, really enjoy getting the Platinum for, and really cannot wait for a sequel for. In mid-2022, I had this weird sensation to go back to a lot of games that I'd played years earlier and platinum the ones that I didn't quite platinum. And that's the case for number 27, which is Tekken 7. I got the platinum for this game on the 25th of May 2022, which is close to 5 years after I got the first trophy for the game on the 4th of June 2017. That doesn't mean I was trying to platinum the game for 5 years, it just means I put the game down for a couple of years between platinuming it and first picking it up. The hardest trophy of the game is definitely Okay, I'm Ready, which is win a battle in an online tournament. Again, trophies that involve winning online can be either very easy or very hard. It all depends on who you matched up against, so I'll almost always put online trophies as the hardest trophy. Most of the trophies in this game involve doing combos, they're story based, or promoting your rank and doing special stage destruction actions. I went back and played Tekken 7, it's the most recent entry of the Tekken series. For now, we know Tekken 8 is on the way. And I've Platinum Tekken 6, a Platinum Tekken Tag Tournament 2. It's just a thing I do, Platinum every Tekken game. And I really enjoyed Platinum in this one. It's a game I still go back to this very day. Tekken is one of my favourite fighting series of all time. And yeah, I'm really glad that I managed to add Tekken 7 to this list. Another game, funnily enough, from 2017 that I went back to Platinum in 2022 is South Park The Fractured But Whole. A sequel to South Park The Stick of Truth, but with much upgraded and, in my opinion, much better combat system. South Park The Fractured But Whole is a game I platinumed on the 29th of May 2022 after achieving the first trophy on the 24th of October 2017. The story involves the new kid from the first game becoming a superhero franchise along with the other kids in town who have both broken off to start different superhero franchises, obviously mimicking Marvel vs DC. And they get themselves way in too deep with a conspiracy that they really shouldn't be involved in. You know, typical South Park stuff. I'd say the hardest trophies in the game are definitely Farts Over Freckles, which is pick a fight with Morgan Freeman and beat him. Morgan Freeman has over 9,999 health, can do attacks that can wipe out your entire party if you're not very careful, and can do loads of damage per attack, so it's definitely one that took me a good few attempts. It took me a long time to win. You've also got the token experience as well, which is create a black character and win the game on Mastermind difficulty. Choosing a black character doesn't necessarily affect the difficulty, it just affects how much money you can make. But the difficulty for this one comes with beating the game on Mastermind difficulty. Most of the other trophies are largely story based or using specific abilities in battle. South Park The Fractured But Whole is one of my favourite games of the 2010s, and it's a game I really enjoy playing, really enjoy platinuming, and I really hope we don't have to wait too much longer for a follow-up to it. For anyone who's not familiar with the Life is Strange series, it's a game that generally prides itself on being really laid back and really chill, while also having a really dark story that it's trying to tell. Life is Strange True Colors is definitely a game exactly like that, and it's one that I really enjoyed platinuming in 2022. The story follows Alex Chen as she has moved to Haven Springs, Colorado to be closer to her brother Gabe. However, after an accident, Gabe is killed in the very first part of the game. Using her supernatural powers, Alex has to try and discover what actually happened to her brother, and it leads her down a dark rabbit hole of conspiracy within this small town. There isn't a hardest trophy in this game. No matter which one I try and pick up on, it's really not that hard. If you collect everything that's in the game and you do all the story beats, you'll have the platinum for Life is Strange True Colors without any issues. I can't even try and come up with the hardest trophy in this game. It's just a fun, laid-back experience with a general dark tone to it, like all Life is Strange games are, and it's one that I definitely recommend picking up if you're into story-based games. Stray made huge waves when it came out, especially as it was released for free on PlayStation Plus back in 2022. The game was nominated for and actually won several Game of the Year awards, and I can see why. The game is a really fun, linear experience playing as a cat in a mysterious world inhabited by robots and mysterious creatures called Zurks. I managed to get the platinum for this game on the 3rd of August 2022 after achieving the first trophy on the 22nd of July 2022, so it took around 12 days. There are actually quite a few difficult trophies in this game, so I'm not surprised that only 2.8% of people actually got the platinum for it. You've got Can't Catch Me, which is complete the first Zurk pursuit without being caught. A lot of people complained about the difficulty of this trophy online, but as long as you know the general path that the Zurks take and you zigzag a little bit, it's definitely easily doable. You got Pacifist, which is complete the sewers without killing any Zurks. Zurks are all over the sewers and you will die repeatedly trying to get this one. You have a UV light that can kill the Zurks, but all you have to do is not use that and you'll get this trophy. And then you've got I Am Speed, which is complete the game in less than 2 hours. I feel like I ran through the game, and annoyingly you can't skip cutscenes, and cutscenes do count towards the playtime. I managed to complete the game in 1 hour and 58 minutes when I got this trophy, and I think it was like 35 seconds or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I do remember it was less than 2 minutes to spare in order to get this trophy. It was a nightmare. Other trophies are generally story based or collectibles, things like collect song lyrics for one of the robots that's sitting in one of the towns. One of the more relaxing trophies that's definitely cat-like is to go to sleep for 1 hour. This is real life hours. And another trophy for scratching in every single level of the game. You are playing as a cat after all. I've loved Digimon ever since I was a kid, and when Digimon Survive was announced, which is a more gritty, dark take on the Digimon story, I was all for it. The fact that it was mostly a visual novel didn't upset me because I do quite enjoy visual novels. And Digimon Survive was definitely the sort of thing that I was into. It was a dark story. There was a lot to do in the game. The battle system was something I really enjoyed. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on Digimon Survive, I did do a review. I'll link that in the description below. But I managed to get the platinum for this game on the 29th of August 2022 after achieving the first trophy on the 3rd of August 2022. So it took me about 26 days. Most of the trophies are story-based or generally seeing every Digimon in the game. I'd say the hardest trophies are probably trying to get your friends' Digimon to reach Ultimate and Mega forms. The Champion forms will come as the story progresses, because they are story beats. But one thing the game doesn't tell you, and one thing I didn't know in my first playthrough of the game, is that the Ultimate and Mega forms for your friends' Digimon aren't actually achieved until you unlock specific friendship levels with these characters. And the way to improve your friendship with these characters is to pick the right dialogue options, and often the right dialogue options aren't immediately apparent. You'll pick something that sounds like the nicest thing to do that would generally raise a friendship with someone in real life, and it won't do anything in the game. In fact, sometimes it might lower it, but then the actual real answer that you should have picked is something that seems completely innocuous, but the way the character responds to it is why the friendship level grows. So I definitely recommend using a guide online if this is what you're going to try and go for. But it's really rewarding when you do finally hit those friendship levels markers and you get the mini boss fights involving your friends' Digimon reaching their Ultimate and Mega forms. In order to get the platinum for this game, you will be required to have multiple playthroughs, as you need to complete the game on the moral route, the wrathful route, the harmonious route, and the truthful route. And each of those routes requires their own separate playthrough. Truthful route is exclusive to New Game Plus, and there are a bunch of trophies within each of those routes as well, involving boss fights that are specific to that route that you've gone through. So it's impossible to complete the game in one run. Also, there's the fact that Shuji and Ryo, two of the characters in the story, it is impossible to save them in your first playthrough. You can only save them in New Game Plus. They die every single time if it's not New Game Plus, because you are just not given the opportunities to raise the friendship levels with them enough to save them from dying. So this will require at least 2 playthroughs. For me, it took 4. Growing up in the 90s, the PS1 was my go-to console, and one of the games that was one of my go-to games on that console was Parappa the Rapper. So when they re-released Parappa the Rapper Remastered, I jumped right on that game. But it's one that I didn't think I was going to get the platinum for one very specific reason. So I managed to achieve the platinum on the 12th of September 2022 after achieving the first trophy on the 22nd of March 2018. That doesn't mean I spent 4 years trying to get the platinum. It means that there is one trophy that really stopped me from feeling like I'm ever going to achieve it. That being a cake you've never seen before, which is cook up a cool rating on stage 4 on normal difficulty. I'm not the only person who had problems with this stage. This stage is rage inducing.
Every single day, stress comes in every way.
Does it, Mrs. Chicken? Does it? Most of the trophies are along the same lines, completing each stage on a cool rating on normal difficulty, and achieving the different secrets hidden within the different levels within the game. Parappa the Rapper is a rhythm-based game. The story is really simple, as they were back then, but that adds to the charm of the game. It follows Parappa and his friends as they just try and go through their lives, as Parappa's trying to impress the girl who likes Sunny Funny by doing things like learning karate, getting his driver's license, learning how to bake a cake for her birthday after the one he tried to buy gets destroyed. It's a really fun gameplay loop. It's one that I go back to even to this day because it's just a general game you can just jump into and just have a lot of fun with. It's the sort of game that you can just jump into a stage and just enjoy yourself with, and that's what games were about back then, and that is what I do. I do enjoy going back to games like that. Simpler times, man. Simpler times. I know that the general consensus on the internet is that Saints Row got ridiculous and stupid after the second game. You know what? I don't care. I love Saints Row 3 and Saints Row 4. Saints Row 3 is one of my favourite games of all time. It's zany, it's ridiculous, I love it. The game follows the 3rd Street Saints who have become international celebrities as they land in the city of Steelport and have to take on the gangs known as the Morningstar, the Luchadors, the Deckers and the Syndicate, as well as Stag getting involved as well. There's zombies, there's Burt Reynolds, there's government corruption, there is an insane amount to do in this game. I love Saints Row 3. I got the Platinum Trophy for this game on the 7th of October 2022 after getting my first trophy on the 11th of June 2021, so it took just under 16 months to get. I'd say the hardest trophy for me was Going to the Light, which is complete all instances of Guardian Angel, specifically for the fact that I suck at Guardian Angel. And I really didn't look forward to doing all of these. Other trophies generally involve completing important story missions, including Once Bitten Brains, which involves completing the zombie attack, which is incredibly fun, and Murder Brawl 31, which involves doing a very realistic wrestling match. And yeah, that was incredibly a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that mission myself, and doing open world challenges such as Guardian Angel, and generally taking over the city of Steelport from the other gangs. Say what you want about Saints Row 3, the game's got charm. When it comes to getting platinum trophies on the PlayStation, one game that really comes to mind is Spider-Man Miles Morales. The game is considered one of the most definitive games in order to get the platinum for on PlayStation. The story follows Miles Morales as Peter Parker is out of town and sees Miles take on Roxxon, the Tinkerer, the Prowler, and many other classic Spider-Man villains. I managed to get the trophy on the 13th of October 2022 after achieving my first trophy on the 13th of January 2021. So just shy of 2 years. I wouldn't say there's any difficult trophies in this game. All of the trophies are either story-based, getting collectibles, or doing open-world gameplay challenges and taking over the city generally from the different gangs that roam the city. The trophy that gave me the most trouble with this was 100 times combo, which, if you couldn't guess, is to do a 100 times combo. It's really hard sometimes to actually get that combo streak going to that high of a level unless you're absolutely surrounded by enemies. And since I did this in the post game and had to do this with random crimes, just made it a little bit more difficult. Generally, you know, it's a really fun gameplay curve, some of the best combat I've had in any game ever, and it generally follows the same format of Marvel Spider-Man. Speaking of which, if any game is considered more of a definitive platinum to get on PlayStation than Spider-Man Miles Morales, it's Marvel Spider-Man. Originally releasing in 2018, this game follows Peter Parker as he comes to grips with being Spider-Man. The game really introduced us to what the PlayStation could really offer in terms of superhero games. This game throws so many classic Spider-Man villains at you all in one go, and it is amazing, including Mr. Negative, Wilson Fisk, Dark Ark, Electro, Rhino, the Vulture, and Scorpion. I achieved the Platinum on the 16th of October 2022 after achieving the first trophy on the 7th of September 2018. I decided to spend a little bit of time not playing this game. I played other things for a few years in between there. Again, like with Miles Morales, I wouldn't say there's any hardest difficulty to get. Like with Miles Morales, there's most of the trophies are story based or getting collectibles or doing open world gameplay challenges. There are some pretty cool trophies that I want to mention, such as paying respect at Ben Parker's grave or perch atop of the Avengers Tower. Yeah, things like that just really add to the world building of this game. Cult of the Lamb is kind of a roguelite, but not as intense as most roguelites, and I really enjoyed that about the game as someone who's not generally a huge fan of roguelites. The plot is very, very simple. It follows a character called the Lamb who has died and been brought back to life by the One Who Waits, a strange entity imprisoned in chains who has told the Lamb to kill the 4 bishops of the Old Faith in order to release the One Who Waits. To do this, you've got to build up your own cult, you've got to sacrifice your cult members, you've got to use your growing cult in order to get access to other areas in order to fight the different bishops, and clean up shit. A lot of shit. The hardest trophies in this game are definitely fourfold. There's 4 trophies that are just insanely hard to get, at least they were for me. I managed to get them eventually, obviously. You've got Order, which is to defeat Leshy without taking damage, Sate, which is beat Hecate without taking damage, Cure, which is beat Calamar without taking damage, and Peace, which is beat Shamora without taking damage. These are the 4 bishops of the Old Faith. They're the main villains of the game if you don't count the One Who Waits, and defeating them without taking any damage was a nightmare. Most of the other trophies involve growing your cult and sacrificing your followers, and one that I really enjoyed doing is Master of Chance, which is defeat all opponents in a game called Knucklebones. Knucklebones is so addictive and so fun. I'd still go back on Cult of the Lamb just to play Knucklebones right now. I even bought a set of dice in order to play it in real life. It's a really fun, addictive, just simple game. And the general world building of Cult of the Lamb is very dark, yet also very charming and very light-hearted in a lot of ways. And it's that contrast that I really enjoy about this game. And I really hope they add more content to it. If not, give us a follow-up to the game, because Cult of the Lamb is honestly one of the most fun experiences of any game I've had that's released in the 2020s so far. You know those franchises that you loved as a kid that you completely forget about for a long period of time until they randomly pop up again when you're an adult? For me, that's Shin-chan. I used to love Shin-chan when I was a kid. I used to sing that song, I used to watch the episodes of Shin-chan all the time, and then when I stopped watching Shin-chan, completely forgot all about it. Until they announced Shin-chan, Me and the Professor on Summer Vacation, The Endless 7-Day Journey for PS4. It was originally released back in Japan in 2021, but came to the West in 2022, and I managed to pick it up about a month after it came out. I got the first trophy on the 19th of October 2022, and I managed to platinum the game on the 4th of January 2023. I'd say that most of the trophies are technically quite hard to get if you live outside of Japan, because there's no English guides online, at least not that I can find. So you're essentially going to be doing this blind, or use some bad Google translated guides, unless you can speak Japanese, in order to find your way around. I didn't use these guides, and since you only have a certain amount of time within each cycle in order to get it done, it took me 3 or 4 playthroughs of the game in order to get everything, such as catch every single type of bug, catch every single type of fish, cross every bridge, use every set of stairs. The game itself is a really laid back, fun, light-hearted game, and the trophies reflect that. So technically, like I said, none of the trophies are that hard to get, but because of the lack of English guides online, it's Really hard to know what time of day in what area each of the bugs show up, or each of the fish show up, or where all the bridges or sets of stairs are within the game. But it's one that I really enjoyed playing over and over again, so it wasn't that much of a slogfest. The game follows Shin-chan as his family have gone on holiday, and throughout the course of the week, or the repeating week, multiple dinosaurs have shown up thanks to the professor in his time machine. And Shin-chan and his family have to try and work out how to send the dinosaurs back home. And Shin-chan's the only one who can remember the week repeating itself at the end of the week, and he has to try and work out exactly how to stop the week from repeating so he can go home. On top of the typical exploration and collecting trophies, there's also a trophy called Dinosaur Master, which involves winning a total of 30 rounds of dinosaur battle, which is essentially just rock, paper, scissors, so you'll lose quite a few times as well. So it's going to take a lot more than 30 battles. It can be pretty time consuming, but it's a good thing that the mode itself is actually quite fun. It was a really fun game, I really enjoyed playing it, and I would love to see more content added to this game or a sequel come out. The Sonic series is one that I loved growing up, but after Sonic Heroes, there wasn't really a lot to enjoy about the series, for me anyway. Sonic 06 was, well, it's become a meme online for a reason, and no game that released after Sonic 06 really grabbed my attention that much. Sonic Frontiers really grabbed my attention though, as they really tried to do something different with it, and I really enjoyed my time playing it. I managed to get the trophy for this game on the 23rd of January 2023, after getting the first trophy on the 29th of December 2022, so it took me just under 1 month to get the platinum. The story follows Sonic as he is crash landed on a mysterious island with all sorts of different mechs and robots, as well as a digitized girl who seems to have it in for Sonic, and you have to try and work out exactly what's going on. His friends Amy, Tails and Knuckles have all been captured somehow and preserved in what seems like cyberspace. It's up to Sonic to take out all of the Titans to some badass music headed by Kellen Quinn of Sleeping with Sirens in order to free them, and try and find out exactly what this girl wants. I'd say none of the trophies are that hard to get. Most of the trophies are either story based or exploring the island or ranking Sonic up. I will say though that getting Sonic to have maximum speed and maximum rings is a nightmare. Obviously I played this on PlayStation, as I'm talking about the PlayStation trophies I've earned, and you can only get one level at a time. Even if you've got enough to rank up Sonic to level 99 for each, you have to do it one level at a time. I was there for ages ranking Sonic's speed and rings up. You can improve his strength and his defense multiple stages at a time if you really want to, but for some reason they didn't do the same thing with his speed and his rings. A good tip for this is to go to the fishing spots in order to get the trophy Anglers Club, which is land all catches in one fishing spot.
That's a lot of fish.
It's also good for getting Chaos Emerald Vault Keys, Lost Cocos, more rings, skill points, memory tokens, and other things you're going to need for other trophies as well. I'm hearing a lot of rumours about this game getting DLC, and I'm looking forward to that, especially if they add my boy Shadow. But for now, I've done everything there is to do on Sonic Frontiers, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I'm just really hoping they add more content to it soon, because Sonic Frontiers was a really enjoyable experience, and I'd like to jump back into it with some new content and a new story. Ah, the pandemic. What a strange fever dream that feels like. And one of the biggest things to come out of the pandemic was the rise of Among Us. And Among Us got its PlayStation release in 2021. It was very cheap, so I decided to pick it up. It's definitely not the same experience as playing it on a PC. Playing it on a PC is definitely the definitive way to play Among Us. But I did play it on the PlayStation quite a few times, obviously, and I managed to get the trophy for it on the 18th of February 2023, after getting the first trophy on the 15th of December 2021. Some of these trophies are just a slugfest. There's a trophy called 500 Taskmaster, which is do 500 tasks, and Scourge as well, which is get 150 kills. The amount of waiting you'll do to become the imposter is insane. Sometimes you'll go hours without being the imposter, and you'll get maybe 3 or 4 kills in a game. And to get 150 kills, it's no wonder this took me over a year. Most of the trophies involve other players doing the right things, such as Watch Me Scan. There's no way you can get that trophy deliberately. Getting killed while doing a med-based scan, you just have to hope that the other players are doing what they have to do. Smooth Talker and Sherlock are 2 trophies as well that involve just, unless the imposter's an idiot, doing the right thing. You know, Sherlock is to win a game with all your votes being for the imposter, unless the imposter is really stupid and outs themselves. I'd say the hardest trophy in the game is Hunger, which is get 3 kills before a meeting is called, especially with the kill cooldown usually being about 30 to 45 seconds. Getting 3 kills before someone sees a dead body and calling a meeting It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to do, but I managed to get it eventually. Everyone knows what Among Us is. You know, there's one imposter, 2 imposters, or 3 imposters on a map, depending on how many people there are. The crewmates have to do their tasks in the time frame, and the imposters have to kill everybody or convince all the other players that they're the imposters and not you. It's a really simple gameplay. I can understand why it became so popular throughout the course of the lockdown. It's still a fun game. It's still a game I go back to, but now they've got the Platinum on the PlayStation, I'm most likely to play it on the PC. There was one game that I really wanted to get the Platinum for ever since the update that added trophies to that game. TemTem is a really fun Pokemon-like monster collector. It's very similar to Pokemon in a lot of ways, however, it does a lot of things itself that are very unique to the series, and that's one thing that drew me into TemTem, is the similarities to Pokemon, but also the things it did differently, and the things it does differently really shine through. It follows you playing your character, whatever you decide to call them, through the archipelago, meeting different characters, and taking on a terrorist group called Clan Belsato, and you try and work out who is the secret mastermind behind Clan Belsato. I got the first trophy on the 21st of June 2022. I managed to get the Platinum on the 12th of March 2023, so it took me just over 9 months. There's quite a few hard trophies in this game. I'd say Elite Lair Explorer, which is to explore and complete a lair with a 3-person party, is probably the hardest trophy in the game. Lairs are kind of like the raid system within TemTem, and they're built with 5 players in mind. So doing it with a 3-player party is insanely difficult. You have to get a certain amount of gems in order to fight the raid boss, usually Volgon or Tyrannak. For a 3-player party, you essentially have to make no mistakes. I managed to just about get this trophy. Oh, I mean just about get this trophy, because you have to beat the raid boss as well. Tyrannak was the one that I went after, and it took my Noxolotl down to very little health. It was my last TemTem left, and I managed to hit my last move, which also took my health down to 10, and I managed to defeat Tyrannak. If it had taken off just a little bit more health, or Tyrannak had gone first, I definitely wouldn't have got this trophy when I did. All Potential is another difficult one to get. Get a level 100 TemTem with all perfected stats, fully TV trained, including all egg moot techniques in its learn set. That one's a nightmare. You have to really know what you're doing with breeding TemTem. Perfected stats is something that you're going to have to do a lot of trial and error for. There's a lot of guides online on how to do that. Fully TV trained is pretty easy, and egg techniques as well onto a TemTem with perfect stats can take a long time in order to get that one. Most of the trophies involve things like dojo leader rematches, which also took me a long time to do as well. Unlike in Pokemon, where rematching gym leaders, they'll have better teams than last time. Dojo rematches are done under proper competitive formats. If you don't have a team that's TV trained with competitive stats and competitive moves, you're not going to beat the dojo rematches. Generally, other trophies involve battling or TemTem training. There's some luck-based trophies in there as well, such as Blin Blin, which is capture, evolve, or hatch a Luma TemTem. I did that one on stream when I caught 3 Luma Ori. And you've also got Fisher, which is show a 5 out of 5 Koish without showing a 4 out of 4 Koish. There's a minigame within the series on Nuru Lodge called the Koish of the Week, where you throw a fishing rod into the water and you fish up a Koish, and there'll be a Koish of the Week which has a certain colour combination and certain length whiskers and fins, and you have to match all 5 characteristics of the Koish you catch to the one in the building. And obviously to get this trophy you have to show a 5 out of 5 Koish without showing a 4 out of 5 Koish. 4 out of 5 Koish will give you different rewards, but a 5 out of 5 Koish is the one that you need for the Koish of the Week. And thankfully there's a pity system involved, so if you haven't found the 5/5 Koish after 500 casts, then it will force it for you. So thankfully there is a pity system there, so you're not going to go over 500 encounters in order to find the 5 out of 5 Koish. TemTem knows and appreciates where it came from and the inspirations that went behind it, and one of my favourite inclusions of trophies in this game is Back to the Basics, which involves catching 151 different TemTem species. TemTem's a game I really enjoy. I bought the game on PlayStation in early access when I first got my PS5, and to support the developers I bought it on Switch as well, and I also later on managed to get myself the collector's edition of TemTem because I really wanted the Tem cards and the TemTem statue and all of the different nice stuff that comes within that box. So safe to say I'm a big fan of TemTem. So there we have it. Every single platinum trophy I've ever earned documented in the last 2 videos. I'm going to keep trying to earn more platinums, and when I've earned 60 overall, I'll make a follow-up video to this one. Who knows, it could take another 2 years, it could take another 10 years. But don't forget to subscribe to me here on YouTube to find out whenever that is. I also make fun little quiz videos I hear on this channel, and I also upload gameplay videos from my various Twitch streams. And if you head on over to twitch.tv/Gems of Thunder and go and follow me on there, you'll be notified whenever I do go live on Twitch in the future. I've been Gems of Thunder, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.